What's up, millennials? So in this video we're going to talk about Teladoc Health. Alright, yesterday they published their earnings. So in this video what we're going to do is first I'm going to give you a short introduction of Teladoc Health. Then I'm going to talk about those earnings, just give you a few highlights, and afterwards we're going to take a look at the graph, a very quick look to just see what the impact of these earnings have been on the share price. Alright, so first let me give you a very quick introduction of Teladoc Health. So basically Teledoc is the leader in telehealth. So what is telehealth? Well, instead of going to your physician, what you can do is just chat with him or her on your phone or on your computer, right? I personally don't really go to my physician very often, maybe like once a year or something like that. And almost every time they ask me some questions, they take a quick look and then they're like, yeah, just wait a few weeks, and if you still have complaints afterwards, then come back, right? And I'm like, well, okay, so that's why I drove all the way here, and that's why I've waited for over half an hour just to talk with you. Well, with Teledoc and with telehealth as well, you can just get on a call with your physician and do exactly the same, spending less time and spending less money. So as I've said before, yesterday they published earnings after the market closed for Q3 of 2020, of course. And today we're going to take a look at some of the highlights, okay? Not all of the information, of course, but just a few highlights. We're going to take a look at two fundamental changes and then some financial highlights as well. So let's first take a look at these fundamental changes, right? The first one is the merger with Livongo. And we already knew that this merger was going to happen, but they just added a quick line over here. With the addition of Livongo later this year, we will be creating a new category of whole person virtual care that will transform how people live healthier lives. Okay, so later this year, this merger is going to go through. Now, Teledoc is probably already the leader in telehealth, and especially after this merger later this year with Livongo, they're definitely going to be the leader. I haven't really been able to find an exact date for this merger yet, so yeah, I'll keep looking and we'll let you know if there is going to be more information about that. And the other fundamental change was the following line, that they expanded client partnerships with industry leaders including Guidewell, Johns Hopkins, and Telefonica. During the call, Telefonica seemed quite important because they want to use this company to get more expansion within Europe and Latin America as well. Telefonica is a company that's very well known in Spain and Latin America. So by using this company, they could actually pretty much expand a little bit further in Europe by using Spain as a sort of stepping stone, more or less. And then also let's take a look at their financial highlights. We're just going to take a look at a few things. First of all, total revenue seemed pretty good. So over here, what you have is this part over here is for Q3 of 2020 versus 2019. And this part on the right hand side over here is the 9-month period from January this year until September 30th, and the same period of last year, so 2019. What we can see first of all in Q3 2020 versus Q3 2019 is that there was a year-over-year growth of 109%, pretty insane. And if you look at the 9-month period, we see a year-over-year growth of 79%, right? So this already looks great to me, and I suppose that with the addition, with the merger with Livongo, that's probably going to be even crazier. Now let's also take a look at another metrics, which is the total amount of visits that was realized. We can see in the Q3 2020 versus Q3 2019, a year-over-year growth of 206%, and a 9-month period of those 2 years, 163% increase. That's pretty good as well. Then the next one, net loss. Net loss was $35.9 million for the third quarter of 2020. But if you exclude the costs of the Livongo merger and the acquisition of InTouch Health, which also happened earlier this year, which of course these two things, this merger and the acquisition, they aren't going to happen every quarter, right? So if you exclude the costs of those two things, then the net loss was actually 10.7 million for Q3 of 2020. And then the last thing we're going to look at in these financial highlights is the EBITDA. And by the way, I'm actually wondering, do you say EBITDA or EBITDA? Because I hear a lot of people saying EBITDA, but then sometimes people say EBITDA. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going to call it EBITDA. So EBITDA. What they had was a loss of 6.8 million for Q3 2020. But again, if you exclude the costs of the merger with Livongo and the acquisition of InTouch Health, then the EBITDA was actually 18.4 million in positive number, so in profit, right? So a basic conclusion that we could get from this information is basically that Teledoc shows tremendous growth potential. And after the Livongo merger, I definitely believe that's only going to be faster and faster. Definitely because of the merger, I think Teledoc is going to be the leader in the telehealth industry. Okay, and then let's do a very quick look at the graph, because yesterday Teladoc was actually my only green stock in my portfolio. It was up like 3% at some point and then came back to close around 1.7% for the day. And right after the market closed, Teladoc released their earnings and the price pretty much crashed with 8%. Now, I guess that people maybe saw the higher net loss compared to Q3 of 2019. Yeah, but again, mainly because of the Livongo merger and acquisition of InTouch Health, right? That produced these extra net losses. Now, the price actually recovered a bit after that. Now it's down about 4%. So if we look at the daily chart over here, it looks like we're trading within this region between $185, so $185, and $235 for like the last 3 months or something like that. We have a nice support over here on the price of 185 and a nice resistance over here at 235. So what this looks like is a bullish rectangle. Basically means that the price is going to go up and then trade within a range like the range we have right now. And then when it breaks out, well, we can do a nice measured move. Usually the measured move would be to take the rectangle from top to bottom and put it at the breakout point. Let's see if we can manage to do that. And then the target would be around $282 for this move if we actually break out of this bullish rectangle with enough volume. Okay, so what am I going to do with all this information? Well, I'm already long shares of Teladoc Health, just for full disclosure. And I'm just going to keep holding my shares, right? I'm not going to be adding shares right now, and I'm not going to be selling any shares either. Now, I think that this company, Teledoc Health, is actually going to stay in my portfolio for quite a while, probably like 10 plus years or something like that. I actually believe that Teledoc is just getting started and that in the future, this could actually become one of the biggest health companies in the world. So with that being said, thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.